Oh, this looks like fun. Let's play this Dungeons & Dragons.
We haven't unlocked the vault.
all those,
you have not become the masters of the vault yet.
Oh, that's right. There's a vault involved with that?
Oh, is that the name of the show we were doing?
There are flying snakes. I remember.
Yes, I remember the flying snakes that I barely survived. As with all other creatures we encounter.
To be fair, every encounter you...
Yeah, but now that we lost...
Then you just glugged down the team's healing potion, so it was okay. You're like, oh, this, I guess.
How was I supposed to know random dude in the hut had healing powers? And welcome back to another episode of Even More Mashed Up, a pop culture podcast featuring two very humble and self-effacing professors talking about all things pop culture. I'm Patrick.
Hey, and I'm Allan, and today we are going to talk about selling our book. Diversity in the superhero pop culture today.
Yes, hashtag shameless self-promotion.
Ding.
Why the ding?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have my falsetto back yet from the illness.
Do you ever have a falsetto?
Yeah, the dog voice.
The
dog
what?
voice is very up here, but it doesn't sound like the dog today.
Dog voice has been smoking quite a lot.
Oh, the dog. Yeah, it's like the dog's been...
Is that your Yayu voice, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like when Yayu has something to say. Like, where's the treats? You know,
I'm
that's
not sure
how
I've ever heard you do that voice.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Really?
Oh, 100%.
I'm not sure I've ever heard you do that voice.
Oh, I do a dog voice constantly. I grew up with people who did dog voices. I believe in dogs talking.
Okay. I talk to my dog. I have my own dog voice that I talk to Leia in.
Well, no, but how does your dog talk back to you?
Oh, Leia doesn't talk back. She's very respectful.
How does she speak to you?
It's usually something like, oh,
really? It's not like chomping on blinds?
No, because there are no more blinds that she can reach.
Because she's torn them all down?
No, because I cut them, because they're just cheap paper blinds, I cut them so high.
So Leia's now learn how to jump higher.
No, the problem is that all I've got particularly in the downstairs living room, is there's just these really thin curtains that the previous owners left that you can kind of see through. So I don't have a lot of privacy in the downstairs living room. So I gotta
need to finish that sentence. I don't have a lot of privacy in the downstairs
living room.
That's not a good place.
I said downstairs living room.
Yeah, but you started. You kind of paused. I don't have a lot of privacy in the downstairs
living room. I said living room. I didn't pause so much as you started talking over me.
No, you paused.
There's a difference.
And so we have a show about the book.
Oh,
yes,
that's right.
The book. All new, all different.
It's not about the book. This is a
history
show
of race and the American superhero, coming to you from University of Texas Press in November.
November 5.
That's the Amazon date. I'm not sure how official that is.
I mean, if Amazon's got it, how more official can you be?
I don't know if they have it. Oh, we should check the Amazon page to see if they have the book.
It seems like we should have it. But the book is only going to come up organically today, because we're really talking about diversity in superhero popular culture today.
I thought the show was supposed to be the show for your book.
No, not the plan at all. We're doing superhero popular culture. But now that you raised the book,
yes,
it turns out that the book does address certain issues in superhero popular culture today that we might want to talk about.
Still listed as a pre-order at Amazon, so.
Disappointing. Hey, regular listeners, if you would like a pre-order discount code,
yes,
get in touch with Even More Mashed Up and we can hook you up.
By the way, there was someone that asked you for the code on your Instagram the other day. I don't know if
it was Nick, and I talked to Nick, and I think he's ready to go.
Who's Nick?
He lives over in the dorm.
I say, is he some guy?
Lives in the dorm with me.
Okay.
We're dormers.
Yeah, no, I got it.
I need the book to do well because I live in a dorm.
Does that make you a dorm mouse?
I desperately need this book to do well.
Oh, for sure. Like this book, if this book doesn't do well, I could live in a dorm for the rest of my life.
Oh, this book is our one shot.
Like for 10, 20, 30 years.
Yeah, this is our one shot at fame and
Which
or
really,
fortune.
it's not as bad as it could be.
Which is not to say that the dorm is bad.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you've all been there.
Yeah.
It's a nice dorm.
You could be living in a dumpster.
Well, yeah, but
Much
the show's
worse.
about us, not you.
Oh, okay. That was particularly painful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that new haircut you have. Oh, Rich is here. The new haircut you have
Am I here?
It's like, remember the sitcom we were talking about where it was going to open to Rich sleeping under a blanket and you hear the opening music?
Was that our Odd Couple?
No, yeah.
You do remember it was like a show we did like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, well, wasn't that the Odd Couple? With the remake of the Odd Couple with Rich and you?
I don't think I was in it.
I forget. I don't think it was the Odd Couple, but I remember. Yes, there was the sad sitcom.
Yeah, it would be kind of sad, but like your haircut has killed that sitcom.
Is it a sitcom if it's sad?
But no.
Yeah.
This is the first episode
pathos.
before everything goes bad.
No, that haircut says only good things are coming your way.
And that also implies a
Until
time
the
when
hair
things were
grows
good.
out.
I wish we had a picture of that haircut that we could post.
Didn't you just take a picture of Rich?
I did.
Yeah.
It'll be on my Instagram, but it won't be on the podcast.
Okay.
You know, it needs to be on the podcast advertising.
Well, no, the image for this
I mean,
week's
you could
podcast
post it
would
to the
clearly be our book.
podcast Facebook page.
I think it's a really sharp haircut.
I mean, you could post it to the podcast
Hey, speaking
Facebook
of
page.
diversity in MCU and comics,
Yeah. It's kind of amazing how diversity is all over the place today, eh?
yes,
If I'm going to ask questions, you're going to have to give me bigger responses than that.
I don't think I have to. When I ask you questions, you're basically just saying A.
That's not true.
That's true. You're saying A.
No.
Well, wait, maybe B.
There are literally paragraphs of information before I say A
Yeah.
and then switch it to C.
It's how he
before
loses.
settling on B.
Yes.
No, you know how I lose? I lose by somebody
Here we go.
planting false information at the beginning of the quiz that comes back to bite me in the butt at the end. That's how
If
I
you'd
lost.
only not done
Let's be
so much
clear.
better on the other questions, I might believe you.
Let's be clear. I was trying to build drama.
Yes. There was
I
ample
did not
opportunity.
realize that the drama had been built
There was
against me.
ample opportunity for you to pull ahead of Rich at multiple points.
You
and
would say there
failed.
was ample opportunity for me to pay attention, learn over the course of the hour.
Well, that was your mistake.
And then win.
You assumed you were supposed to learn from me.
Yeah.
That
It's
is
Gotham.
not my job.
You can't learn from Gotham.
Hey, speaking of things that people get upset about,
Yes.
It's
Diversity
interesting
in
how
the
there
MCU.
sort of these constant debates and fan culture upset
Yes.
about gender bending and race swapping heroes.
There have been, yeah. Though it doesn't seem like what they're doing with Eternals has had quite as much controversy.
I've got a theory on that.
Is it because nobody cares about Eternals?
That's my answer.
Yeah. Everyone's
It
like,
turns
wait a
out-
minute. Nobody cares that Ajax the Eternal was originally a man and now he's being played by Salma Hayek?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to know that Ajax.
Nobody, you just say that. Nobody seems to know that Ajax.
Yeah.
Period.
I think of Ajax as like the dish soap.
Yeah, that's what most people think of.
Or Deadpool.
That was the main bad guy in the first Deadpool.
Oh, I was trying to think how.
Not that I think he's not called by that name
No,
very
no.
often.
He wants to be. I think he said it twice.
Yeah,
because
it's
he's like, I'm Ajax, and it's like, oh, the dish soap, haha. And then that's it. I think
yeah,
you
like
never
it's
hear
the
him
only,
again.
yeah, you don't really hear
But I
his-
know that more than the Eternals.
Yeah.
So building on things like Wonder Woman and Black Panther and Captain Marvel.
Yes. Well, even going back to the original Thor, where you had Heimdall, played by Idris Elba. That was one of the early sort of race
Yes,
swaps.
agreed. But I think of like mainstream headlining, diversity bringing characters.
Are you
Heimdall
suggesting
was,
that Heimdall was not a mainstream headlining diversity-bringing character?
Well, was his name in the title?
Who's Heimdall?
Then I'm going to go without headline. Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I'm going to stake myself to that position. I see you try to paint me into a corner of racial awkwardness, but no, I'm going to.
I'm just saying, you're
given
kinda
that his
trashing
name
Heimdall.
is not in the headline, I'm going to go without not a headliner.
Yeah, but he was in Infinity War.
That's true.
Got
So was
killed
everyone.
in the-
Literally,
got
like
killed in the
400
first act.
Yeah, other characters.
You're thinking of Endgame. There were only like 200 in Infinity War.
Oh, it's hard to keep track.
It is hard to keep track.
So, headlining characters,
Yes.
more recently Wonder Woman, Black Panther, Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. And now you've got all kinds of stuff coming.
Yes. Yes.
You've got-
Besides Eternals, there's Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu.
That's true.
Or what is it, Shang-Chi and the something of the Ten Rings?
It's the Legend of the Ten
Legend
Rings.
of the Ten Rings.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
I was
what-
thinking mystery for some reason, but
That's
that
what
didn't sound
research
right.
will do for you.
Yeah.
Notes.
Except for the show.
Yeah.
Birds of Prey
Yeah.
is a somewhat diverse. Number one, like a movie about women.
Yeah, we should do a discussion of that trailer because,
We need to do a trailer park.
yeah,
If only Rich had suggested that before the show, we could have done two.
good one
today.
I
today.
hate
Yeah.
both of you.
Yeah,
Way to drop the ball, Rich.
because I think something new from Star Wars might have come
He
out.
was so busy getting his haircut he couldn't
Wait,
make
did something new from Star Wars come out?
the final trailer for Rise of Skywalker came out. Like,
Oh.
When was it?
he's literally watching it right now.
You've not seen it yet, Rich.
I didn't know.
Excuse me while in the middle of the podcast.
I forgot another movie was coming out.
Yeah, well, it's been out for a while now.
The movie?
What, like a week? Because it came out. Was it this Monday Night Football?
It was Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah, I guess it must
The
have.
best
It
time to
wasn't
drop a
last
Star
night.
Wars
No, it was last night. It was
trailer.
a week
ago.
before. That's right. Okay, because today's Tuesday.
Yeah.
The best time to drop a Star Wars trailer is during Monday Night Football.
But Birds of Prey, a little bit.
Yeah.
Joker, and according to the article Rich sent us, black women.
Ugh.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I saw that and I was like, oh, man.
If that's your standard bearer for diversity, we've
Yeah.
got issues, my friend.
Well, I don't think you want Joker standard bearing anything.
No, it's standard
Mental
bears
health,
certain things.
awareness.
None of them good.
Right.
Yeah, social awareness. Like, woo.
And then you got the Disney streaming services.
Yes, which has Ms. Marvel,
Falcon and Winter
Soldier.
Soldier.
Yep.
Moon Knight could be.
Well, he's
like
Jewish.
And a mental health issue, depending
Yeah.
how they do it.
I really hope they do Moon Knight well.
Yeah. She-Hulk.
Yeah.
WandaVision.
Yeah.
What if?
Which WandaVision also, besides obviously featuring Scarlet Witch in the headlining role, is supposedly going to have the Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel.
That would be awesome.
So, though I don't know, given the storyline they're doing, I have no idea how she fits in. But
Yeah.
that's apparently, they said Monica Rambeau is going to be in that.
I mean, at
so.
some point with all these, they've got to start, either saying, "Oh, it's just not canon," or like alternate realities. You can't.
Oh
fit
no,
them
it's
all.
pretty clear the WandaVision is a completely fabricated reality that she made with her powers. It's clearly they're doing kind of a blend of House of M and the storyline where she lost her kids and went crazy.
Ah,
Because that's going to feed into, because that show's supposed to feed into Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So my guess is that Wanda's power, they're going to make Wanda's powers closer to the comic in which she can alter reality.
Yeah.
And that she's created kind of a reality in which she and Vision are happily married, have 2 kids, and then it's going to go downhill from there.
Who doesn't dream of a happy reality where you've married an android, made babies with him?
Yeah. Well, it happened in the comics, so.
hey, it's an android played with Michael Fassbender.
Even
Actually,
androids
it's
can
Paul
cry.
Bettany that's plays Vision. Fassbender's Magneto in the X-Men films.
I could have sworn he did both of them.
No, it's Paul Bettany.
Wow.
I thought he was making a reference to a completely different film somewhere.
Yeah, he was making a reference
Well,
to
I mean,
X-Men,
yeah, but I
potentially.
was
I
under
mean,
the
the-
impression he had done both roles. Okay,
Nope,
Never
it's
mind.
Paul Bettany.
never mind.
Married to Jennifer Connelly, who does the voice of Spider-Man's suit in the Spider-Man movies.
Anything else you want to add, Rich?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Good for now. Loki. I'm not
Yeah.
sure that's going to bring a lot of diversity.
Yeah, no, that's not one that's going to bring a ton.
Hawkeye.
Well, we're supposed to get Kate Bishop. Is that it's supposed to be more featuring her? So
Apparently, Jeremy Renner's going to actually keep his part.
yeah, I read an article about that. It's kind of ugly.
Got a little bad for
Yeah.
Jeremy Renner.
Yeah. So,
So
but yeah, supposedly that's going to bring in the Kate Bishop, which has everyone theorizing that since we've got Kate Bishop, we've already got a grown-up Cassie Lang.
right.
If Wanda has her 2 kids in WandaVision, we've got almost half of Young Avengers already.
Yeah. Is one of them Wiccan?
Wiccan and Speed. Well, because he has the same powers as Quicksilver,
I know.
essentially.
So you're going to call him Speed.
It was a terrible name.
Terrible.
I mean,
idea.
Wiccan wasn't great.
Actually, they changed Wiccan, didn't they?
Well, he was Asgardian originally.
Is he still Wiccan? I thought he changed again.
No, I think he's still.
Rich,
Yes.
Still Wiccan.
check it out.
I'm not sure what I'm googling.
He was supposed to be. I think in the Young
Marvel
Avengers,
character
one of the Young
Wiccan.
Avengers series, he was supposed to become the Demiurge. I think he went by that name for a little bit.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm remembering.
But I think he's back to Wiccan now.
Boy, those stories were terrible.
Oh no, I liked that Young Avengers series because I had the Miss America Chavez.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other. I'm thinking of the one. What was the one where Sunspot took over?
That's U.S. Avengers.
Ugh. I feel like Wiccan did a thing like that too, like a demiurge kind of trajectory.
Yeah, but that was in the. Oh no, he was supposed to become like the.
not in U.S. Avengers.
Not in. No, I don't think Wiccan was in U.S. Avengers.
He wasn't.
No,
The little Hulk dude was, right?
Hulkling.
Yeah,
I don't think he was in U.S. Avengers.
yeah.
It's been a while since I've read.
Weren't
US
they like a
Avengers.
couple?
Yeah, they are a couple.
Yeah. How would I know that? Except for the
I
fact
don't
that
know,
I've read
which-
U.S. Avengers.
What am I looking up specifically with Wiccan?
Wiccan, his character trajectory.
You'll probably want to
What
type
other
Marvel
names
and
has
not
he
just the
gone by?
word Wiccan.
Well, no, I got it. I'm just trying. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's still going
So
by
the
Wiccan.
names he's gone by and what he currently
Ah.
goes by.
Okay, so then
Pretty sure he's back to Wiccan.
Okay.
Asgardian, Demiurge, and then right now he is. It says just Wiccan.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think he went back to Wiccan.
Well, it's not a good name.
It's not. I think he toyed around at one point with Warlock, but they pointed out that that's kind of a term for an evil magician.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's hard.
it is hard.
It's hard. So what do you make then, I don't know, random question,
Okay.
of fan upset about gender bending and race swapping?
Well, we did. I remember we did. What was it for the Christian Science Monitor?
Yes.
Didn't we do that interview when the first trailer for Force Awakens came out, and everyone got very angry about the Black Stormtrooper?
Yes. Well, not a superhero, but the same kind of.
But kind of the same kind of
example.
outrage, because I think we brought up things like Heimdall and whatnot.
Right.
I mean,
Did you just dismiss Heimdall with the whatnots?
no. I just said whatnot, so I dismissed him with the whatnot.
Okay. I say he's not a headliner, and I get crucified. But he's.
I was
whatnot for you.
I was my tacit acceptance of your position, which is that Heimdall is not an important black character in the MCU.
No,
which I
he's
believe
not
was
an
your position,
important character in the MCU.
who's also black.
Yeah.
So
It turns out in American pop culture, that's a fairly sadly applicable generalization.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm cautiously optimistic that, particularly post things like Black Panther, there's, because maybe it's because the Eternals aren't really known, but maybe it's because people are maybe a little more. At this point, the MCU is going to be diverse.
Yeah.
And so maybe the people are just sort of accepting that.
You think they've just been kind of like beaten down?
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, like
elevated to a new consciousness.
Yeah. They've probably more. I'm not sure that's a group that wants to be elevated to a new consciousness.
Yeah. Well, I was reading on,
but I always find it disappointing. It's one of the. I mean, of the many things that I find sort of disappointing about kind of rabid comic fan culture is the very strong negative reactions to changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Some people are really married to canon in a way.
Yeah, some people are. Yes,
can just make it uncomfortable.
Yes. Yeah. So it's one of the things that sort of disappoints me about fandom.
Yeah.
If these movies were coming out maybe 20 years ago, I might be one of those people.
Really?
I could see a younger version of me being more upset about the variance from canons. It also helps that the movies have been really good. So
right.
Yeah, and then they're not past
over,
superhero movies where it's like a slog to even go see them.
That's not the DCEU.
Right. We should call them movies and not cinema, though.
Yeah.
Right. Just so we're clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really wish
Father
that debate
film
would,
told
I really
us
wish
no.
people would stop responding to that debate.
Yeah. Oops. So you're
But
telling me to shut up?
it's
No. I just I mean,
I hear you. Like, yeah.
No. I mean,
Show's over.
I mean that people should stop responding to what was it, Scorsese,
Yeah.
and basically telling me here's all the reasons you're wrong, Martin. And I'm like, yeah, you're not going to change Scorsese's mind, and
Right.
all you're doing is kind of proving him right about MCU and comic book fandom, and if he doesn't like the films, that's fine.
Like gangster fandom can be the same way, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've just never been a big gangster film guy.
I'm not. I mean, I've never seen the Godfather movies.
I have not either.
Yeah,
The first one was really good. Again, it's very kind of classic.
Well, I
and
mean, they're
it's,
considered
they're
classics.
film
But I mean,
classics. Yeah,
like,
sorry, cinema classics.
like Citizen Kane or whatever. Like it's very traditional, but like
Is that
it's
H.G.
good.
Wells that did Citizen Kane?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think
No,
we
I wasn't-
established that on a show
I
many
wasn't.
years ago.
I wasn't
See,
saying
I remember
Scorsese
things.
did it. I'm just saying it's one of those films that people like say, "Oh, it's such a great film." And it's like it can be okay, but you get what they're talking about. I guess kind of like it's traditionally film, and it's like it's a good, but like I could see why someone wouldn't like it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that genre's never been a genre that really spoke to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's not like I haven't seen the Godfather films, never watched Sopranos. Yeah, gangster stuff is just not really
I
my
didn't
cup
watch
of tea
Sopranos
either.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like it's not my. I mean, I don't think Martin Scorsese is crying himself to sleep at night that I don't watch his films.
But
I
what if
think
he
that's-
is?
I doubt it very much. So, but yeah. So I mean, if it's Scorsese, and I'm trying to think who else kind of jumped on that
I don't remember.
bandwagon. Oh, Coppola.
Oh, of course.
Of course. Yeah. it was-
Kind of jumped on that bandwagon as well.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. To me, it's a silly kind of argument
yeah,
that like lots of different cinema or movies or film or whatever gets made.
yeah,
Watch what you want.
yeah.
Complain about the Joker.
yes,
We can all
yeah.
go home
Watch
happy.
what you want unless it's Joker. Don't
Yeah.
watch that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Though it apparently was back up to #1 this week.
Yeah. No, it's done quite
It's
well.
done really well. Yeah,
It
I guess it's
has
the highest
legs,
grossing
one might say.
rated R movie,
Well, and again,
I saw that.
eclipsing
yeah.
Deadpool. So
especially looking at DC, DCU and the movies, like it's not good, but it's probably one of the better ones.
DCU is going to kill superhero cinema.
you think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's been
At
such
this
a
point, out DCEU being bad is sort of baked in.
like I feel like Marvel will do it just because Marvel has the pull. Like, the DC can like do so many bad movies, but it seems to be able to be brushed aside a bit because it's.
I don't know, but like Joker makes so much money and so many people see it. Eventually, people are going to be like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, well, but
I guess it's
Yeah,
just
I
that it's
don't
only. It's
I think
it's one
I think
film.
it's going to be more if you start. I mean, I think what's going to kill superhero movies is just.
Disney.
Well, no, but
No.
if they keep sort of pumping them out, but there's nothing really unique about them. I mean, one of the things Marvel's done really good is that they've used different genres of films.
Right.
But if we start getting to the point where it's kind of the same thing over and over again,
Yeah, you
Well,
make
the
so
other
many.
danger
you
is-
can't-
then I think that's going to be what kills it. Is it just starts to feel like, it's another superhero movie.
I mean, just listening to how many movies you guys were listing off, like that were coming up. It's like you do that many. At some point, there's nothing new.
Well, that's the other problem is that they're movies about people or that people don't care about so much anymore, like the Eternals.
Yeah.
Now they made Guardians work.
They did
so
make
I'm not
Guardians
saying they
work.
can't do it.
No.
Yeah,
But I'm just saying,
it's a lot harder
like
now.
eventually, like you're down to the Eternals.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see like how much
Well,
they
Hawkeye.
do.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of in
They're
a
making a
sense.
show about that guy.
Yeah. Okay.
Show.
I'm just gonna let that
I
slide.
can shoot a bow and arrow. I'm a hero.
He points that out in Age of Ultron. It's very self-aware.
Yeah.
Um,
If he was self-aware,
He's
he would
self-aware,
just
but he
leave.
still does it.
Yeah.
he did leave. He retired, and then he came back and killed a bunch of people as
He's
Ronin.
on house arrest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The universe is ending. There's a house arrest thing.
Well, he was on house arrest before the universe was ending,
Right.
so he didn't
So
know the universe.
He
was
sat out
ending.
a lot of stuff.
Basically everything post Civil War.
Yeah.
But you could argue he's probably the best family guy of all the people who have families.
Well,
To be fair, do any of them have families?
yeah. and
Well,
Iron
Tony
Man
Stark seems like a good family guy. He's got
Like-
that daughter. He wants to take care of her.
seemed
Yeah.
like a good family guy.
Yeah.
Cap.
Cap. He's a good family guy.
Is he?
America's his family,
who's-
and he
who's-
loves it deeply.
Do you feel a little bit dirty saying
Scott
that?
Lang, I guess.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
Scott Lang.
good dad.
That's a good dad.
I mean,
Very
he,
good
he,
dad.
he kind of fails at it, but he definitely has the right.
No, I think
idea.
he's a good dad. He fails at other things.
Oh,
but
yeah.
He's a pretty good dad.
Yeah.
He might be the best dad.
He might
Maybe.
be the best dad.
Well, I guess he's the best at heart.
Yeah.
So,
His family didn't disappear in the snap.
Right.
whose family?
Scott Lang, didn't
Everyone disappeared except his daughter.
His daughter survived, so he
Oh,
did
was-
something
oh.
that Hawkeye didn't
I
manage.
think everyone else disappeared.
he?
Whereas
Oh,
Hawkeye,
well,
everyone disappeared in his family but him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Says something about Hawkeye.
He's unlucky.
Maybe he's just not a good superhero.
Okay, that makes no sense whatsoever. But weren't we talking about diversity?
We were talking
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
that.
it feels like we've drifted a touch.
Might be a good idea in the future to bring notes to a show like this.
Says the guy who's supposed to be in control of this show.
Oh, there's no way I'm in control of this show.
I'm sorry, didn't you just say that you prepped this whole show and I did nothing?
I did, but you guys have run amok with it
Do you? Well,
because there's no structure.
there's no amuck running when I put the show together for you. It's
Oh,
very
really?
structured.
You should go back and listen.
It's very structured.
Gotham's Live. You may want to listen to that last
answer to
one.
the question. We answer the questions. We move through them efficiently.
Oh, yeah. What, only 10 minutes a question?
Yep. So yeah. Going back to your question, yeah, fan culture, in a lot of ways, kind of the sort of rabid fan reaction against change and against criticisms of the Marvel films. You know, it bothers me.
Well, but it's always been kind of a burden on creators of comics generally. Well, not always, but let's say when they started playing around with the idea of diversifying comics,
Yeah.
there's always been kind of a resistance to it.
Has been, but less. I mean, you didn't have the internet as an outlet to express that,
Right, of course.
as much. Like you
Right.
had the letters pages back in early Marvel
the
comics.
letters pages.
I miss letters pages.
Letter pages?
Yeah, you would write letters to the comics, and they would publish it at the back of.
And then they'd respond to it. Did you ever have one published?
Yeah, I had several published.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Where? Oh, no, I did. Avengers, right?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we talked about that on the show. Avengers 301 was my first letter
I
published.
don't think we talked about it on the show.
We talked about it on something because I read the letter.
What did you write about? I don't remember.
It was about Avengers 296.
And this is why we can't do Trivial
It
Pursuit.
was the storyline by Walt Simonson, basically, where Black Knight was basically slowly becoming less and less able to move and whatnot. And I wrote in with the theory that
He was becoming less able to move.
Yeah, like physically, he had to wear like a exoskeleton to help him move because like his whole body was hardening. And so I wrote in and asked a question of whether or not what was happening to him is because he carries the cursed ebony blade sword, which if it draws blood enacts a curse on the wielder. And Submariner had taken the sword and used it to kill a giant fish monster version of his wife, Marina, in issue 293.
So we've really...
So I wrote in and said my theory is that
And
he's
this
actually
isn't cinema?
he's actually turning into the same substance that the ebony blade is made of, and I was correct.
Wow.
Why didn't you just stop using the blade if it
Very
was
nice.
cursing him?
How old were you?
Let's see. That would have been around 15, 16.
Wow.
Because I started collecting in 87 with issue 287. So that would have been a year later, so 88. So, yes, I would have been about 15.
So you wrote early in your collecting career. Is that the only one you ever wrote?
No. I can't remember which ones. I think I got several, like at least 2, maybe 3 letters published in the letters page of Quasar. I wrote letters to Quasar.
Well, one imagines there was a lot of competition for the Quasar.
I think that might be
page.
why I got multiple letters
Yeah.
published in Quasar. Yeah. But yeah, Avengers, Quasar, I think that might be it. I'm not sure if I wrote into anything else that got published. And I think Avengers 301 might be... that might be the only Avengers issue I got published in. I'd have to go back and check. There might have been another one.
Okay.
But yeah, so Avengers 301, which was on Avengers 296 with my theory that the Black Knight was becoming the Ebony Blade.
Nice.
And I was right.
Nice.
Boom.
Why
Which,
would
by
he
the
become
way,
the Ebony Blade.
to circle this back to the original topic,
I don't understand.
You know who is in
Wouldn't he
Eternals.
become a fish person?
What?
Wouldn't he become a fish person if the blade?
No, the
cut a
curse
fish
curse
person?
of the Ebony Blade varies.
Oh.
Because in the past, if it drew blood, he would become sort of really bloodthirsty and wanting to, like, he had to satisfy the bloodlust for the blade.
Okay.
So this was different.
Sounds very
Possibly,
D&D.
this was different possibly because Submariner was wielding the sword, but not Black
it.
Knight.
Do you think the curse would go to the Mariner?
I guess not, because it went to it actually.
Seems
it
very
definitely went to
unfair,
Black Knight.
really.
Right.
Also, wouldn't the Black Knight just stop using the blade if he knows it's slowly making him impossible to move?
Well, no, he wouldn't know that was going to happen. He just knows that if the blade draws blood, there's some kind of curse that's going to rebound on him. He's just, when he uses the blade, he's just very careful not to draw blood. He uses the flat of the blade a lot.
Couldn't he
Really?
just use a club then?
No, he eventually switched to using, like in the Bob Harris era Avengers, he uses like a laser sword, which has much less cursiness to it.
But significantly more blood, because even the flat.
No, it's not. It doesn't. It's not that. It's not a. It's a very. It's not a lightsaber that like hacks off limbs.
It's just a laser that doesn't hurt people.
Yeah. I don't remember the exact science of it.
Like it does hair removal or something?
I can't remember what it did. I don't remember. But I don't remember him using it to kill. I guess it has like a non-lethal setting and maybe a lethal setting.
So he literally would flip a switch.
I think it's maybe more of a dial.
Set swords to stun.
Goes all the way to 11.
Well, that's a reference I can enjoy.
I knew you would appreciate that.
This has got to be
But-
the worst
But you know why this is
podcast ever designed to sell a book.
But
I'm
you know
just
why
gonna
this is
observe
relevant to
that
our discussion of
we're-
Eternals.
Of turtles.
Of
Internals.
Eternals.
We're talking about
Internals.
turtles now.
Black Knight is in Eternals.
I know that.
You know he's played by.
The Games of Thrones guy.
Yes, Kit Harington.
Yes.
So, but that is an interesting. I'm not sure how Black Knight fits into Eternals, but Black Knight's
he didn't hang out with the Eternals originally?
not really. No, he has no connection to the only connection.
Doesn't the blade make him eternal?
No, the only connection he has to the Eternals
Yeah.
is during the Bob Harris, Steve Epting run on Avengers.
Steve
He
Epting,
was
like that
involved in
guy.
a love triangle between himself, Crystal of the Inhumans, and Cersei of the Eternals. So that might be, and Cersei supposedly is a major focus of the Eternals film.
Right.
So maybe that's how he's being. Maybe they're doing something with that, which would tie into the whole multiverse thing that they seem to be dealing with. Because
Right.
the big storyline in that Avengers was that they were dealing with a villain named Proctor, who had gathered a team of various other Avengers from the multiverse, and sort of was replacing or was eliminating Avengers from the multiverse.
I'd be happier if
And it
the
ends up that
Eternals-
Proctor was an alternate reality of the Black version of the Black Knight.
If the Eternals were set in a different multiverse, it would make me happy.
So
I don't care for the Eternals in general.
I'm not sure anybody really
Like,
does.
this is a concept, just never.
I mean, the concept's fine, but they're not. They're. I mean, they're probably like the Inhumans in that they're really good as occasional guest stars
Yeah.
in the comics, like never as like carrying their own title.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see, because they're almost even more of a stretch, I would say, than Guardians was.
Right. Although The Guardian was really positive on this kind of news.
That was a nice segue.
Yeah, they had a title
It's
for an
why you
article.
can do with notes.
Why Marvel's new leads are the diverse heroes the world needs. Fair or foul?
Fair.
Really?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
it's good.
Do you
to
want to
see
build on the
diversity.
fairness or just
I'm just gonna say fair.
A?
Hey.
On the phones. No, I'm excited to see the direction that they go in. I'm excited to see Marvel sort of course correcting in terms of diversity a little bit.
So when the Guardians writes, the Eternals cast looks as good as a United Colors of Benetton advert.
Oh, I would probably not make that comparison.
The United Colors of Benetton?
You generally don't want to compare advertisements using people of color.
I think Bell Hooks would have something to say about
Yes,
that.
she would. Yeah. It's
As
not.
I recall, she's written a little bit about Benetton.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Benetton or something very similar to Benetton.
Yeah.
That so I'm not sure because that kind of speaks to a very kind of superficial kind of diversity that it's just the image of sort of everyone arrayed there in a very very sort of flat, empty sort of way that particularly like 80s and 90s multiculturalism,
Yes.
particularly in comics, is very often subject to.
So when the Guardian goes on to write about the first leads of Pakistani, Latin, and Middle Eastern origin, as well as the first deaf hero, there is a kind of expansion, but if it is the United Colors of Benetton, it grounds it in sort of problems that comic books have had with diversity
Yeah.
since the
Well,
age of multiculturalism in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, it will depend in terms of how they develop the characters in Eternals. And are they just kind of walking billboards for diversity, or are they actually fully fleshed out human characters?
Like Sunspot from the 80s X-Men, for example.
Is that a good version or a bad version?
He's a good version,
Okay.
right? Like he was fully fleshed out.
Sunspot?
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I was going to say Sunspot.
I think anything from the early 80s, you'd be like, not good.
I'm trying to think. Under Roger Stern, the Monica Rambeau Captain Marvel was pretty good.
All right. I was thinking X-Men, though. So you wouldn't go Banshee.
No, not go Banshee.
No, you would not
Jubilee?
go Sunspot.
No, I mean Storm is not. I mean, at least she gets a decently long arc.
Right, and she eventually develops into something.
Yeah, you do
but
get a.
she spends
Yeah,
a good deal of her early appearances being somewhat reduced.
yeah, very exoticized.
Thunderbird.
Well, he's only around for like a couple of issues.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I think he wrestles a buffalo.
the
one
yes
point.
to the ground.
Yes.
Yes, to prove his manhood.
Yes.
Because the Apache are at the wasting away, I think, is how they're depicted in Giant Size X-Men
exactly.
#1.
Rich, I totally dropped my notes.
Like, what are you doing?
And I can't reach them under my chair.
How'd you get them underneath?
Well, there's a gap here between the cushion. Between the cushion and the...
Can I just say, this is the most well-oiled podcast we have ever done.
I think that's it. I think there's only 3 pages. But 3 action-packed pages.
Action-packed pages, yeah.
So what were we talking about? Oh, 80s multicultural.
80s multicultural.
Yeah,
I'm
I
hoping
think,
Eternals will avoid that kind of, the kind of thing that we see, well, particularly like the 80s multicultural super team that we saw, like with New Guardians, or that people probably know most familiarly from the Super Friends on television, where you had like Black Lightning and Vulcan and Patchy Chief.
Samurai.
Samurai. Yeah, it's not Vulcan. It's Black Vulcan.
Right. All named after either their color,
yes,
or their culture.
Yeah. Well, because again, they're basically,
which is usually a good sign for.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing is
effective multiculturalism.
Yeah.
Hey, look at me! I'm the walking poster board for Native American.
And so that's
culture.
my hope is that these are going to be diverse human characters in Eternals, not characters that are just there sort of representing diversity.
Doing dumb, stupid things.
Yeah, like racism.
Yeah, racism, dumb, stupid.
Makes you dumb, stupid.
Classic,
Yeah.
classic Super Friends.
So yeah, I mean, Eternals runs that risk in the way in which it is the most diverse cast.
Right.
Whereas, you had a very long run up in the MCU prior to this point.
Right.
Of introducing sort of more and more diverse characters like Black Panther, Falcon, War Machine. Like, there was a long rollout to get to the diversity we ultimately had in say, Infinity War and Endgame.
Is it a fair critique to say it took Marvel too long?
Well, to be fair, they had War Machine from the first Iron Man. I mean,
true.
Jim Rhodes is there,
Sidekick,
but
like
he is still there.
And again, like a very '80s, sidekicky kind of way. Although certainly, I would not say that he's trapped by the same kinds of stereotypes that trap the original Rhodes. Yeah. In the comics.
I mean, he's there from the beginning. I mean, in terms of getting a female-led film, which they're finally doing with Black Widow after Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
I mean, the Black Widow film is way overdue.
Yes. Yeah.
And Captain Marvel was way overdue in terms of a headlining female film.
Black Panther? Overdue? I mean, probably, right?
Probably, but in a way, I'm kind of glad because Black Panther was so good. I think it probably covers up a lot of that.
No, I think that's fair, but that they chose to do, say, a Guardians film, before they did a Black Panther is kind of an interesting.
Yeah.
I don't want to badmouth Marvel. I mean, I don't want to make you upset.
No. Yeah, I mean, probably Black Panther was overdue, but I think the quality of Black Panther probably forgives.
Yeah, that
sin a fair amount.
It is certainly at the top. Well, I mean,
my concern is what if we get Black Panther earlier? Is it going to be more like Thor and Thor: The Dark World?
Nobody wants the Dark World.
That it's probably good that we got Black Panther at a point where, particularly at a point where the MCU had sort of matured, and at the point where the powers behind the MCU had shifted, so that directors had much more power, so that Coogler could have more control over Black Panther in the way that Waititi had or Waititi, I forget, Taika Waititi? Yeah, Waititi had for Thor Ragnarok.
So would you say that the MCU has gone through a similar pattern then that the comics themselves did? Grounded at first in a very kind of white masculinity, kind of went through a stage of maturation, and has now reached a more creator-controlled stage that allows for maybe more sophisticated explorations of race, ethnicity, gender identity.
Yeah, I would say they probably started at a higher level.
Agreed. I'm not saying
because both. I mean, you think about like Jim Rhodes and Falcon, which would be kind of their first two.
Right.
When you think about the way in which they're depicted initially in the MCU versus their initial depiction in the comics.
Right.
That they are much more wholly realized characters.
Agreed, but again, you kind of started with the premise that maybe Marvel needed to grow before it could make that Black Panther film, which is, I guess, the comparison. I'm not saying they started out in the same overt. Yeah,
there's definitely growth.
That, let's say, 40s, 50s, 60s comics.
Yeah, it's probably good that they broke their teeth on kind of the early films.
Cut their teeth, or do they break their teeth?
Isn't that the phrase?
I don't think you break your teeth.
I think it's.
You can totally break your teeth.
Does that sound like progress to you?
It does. Yes, you break your teeth. You break your teeth, you get new teeth.
I wasn't a great teacher when I started, but I broke my teeth for a couple years. Now I'm.
Well, who cuts their teeth? That's ridiculous too.
No, cut your teeth. It's definitely cut your teeth.
I'm pretty sure it's break your teeth.
No.
I feel like I think they're synonymous.
You are clearly digging in on a ridiculous position.
Breaking your teeth feels like you went to cut your teeth and then failed.
Exactly.
No, I'm pretty sure. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to
look. Thor Dark World broke the teeth.
I made a huge mistake today. I was listening to ESPN Sports Talk Radio as I was driving in, and Bill Nye the Science Guy was on.
Is this relevant to?
Yes, in the following way. He made the following statement about playing baseball, I think. He said, "It's not like it's rocket surgery." Right, which would either be brain surgery or
now,
rocket science.
In his defense,
but it can't be.
I've seen him on
Hamilton. He's still trying to find somebody using breaking my teeth in the way that he wants it.
No,
but in Bill Nye's defense,
because I Googled break your teeth expression.
Yeah.
And all I'm getting are cut your teeth.
Almost as though you
Oh,
were
wait,
100.
there's Urban Dictionary, breaking my teeth.
Oh, don't
One,
read it. No, don't read it out loud.
having a hard time saying something.
Okay, not what you meant to say.
Or explaining something or even reading something.
Well, you are breaking your teeth in that way today.
Or having an annoying time saying something, explaining something, or even reading
Look,
something.
it's the same thing, just
Wait,
slightly
no.
different.
What's happening is Patrick is literally breaking his teeth.
Okay.
Trying to make that phrase mean.
I'm not
cutting your
sure because the source of this definition
teeth. On Urban Dictionary.
on Urban Dictionary is some guy named Teeth Breaker. So I'm a little concerned that he is not an unbiased
Or
source.
he knows everything there is about
Yeah.
breaking
Right,
his
he
teeth.
might be the world's #1 expert
on,
in a phrase that's never been used before.
yeah. Except by him, I guess.
Yeah. The Marvel Universe was just breaking its teeth.
Oh, but no, for the Bill Nye thing.
Look, he's on like page 8 of his Google search right now. He's like, I will find this somewhere.
Yeah,
like, you
okay,
never go past the first page of your Google search, but he's like, it's going next,
Nope,
next.
you know what? My phone just died, so I can't.
That's
look
okay.
at
I'll,
anything more.
no, it's okay. I'll look it up for you.
Okay, so they cut. It's good that they cut their teeth
Yes.
on the early ones before
You know.
they tackled race because they did. I mean, they definitely went through that maturation.
That kind of phraseology is not rocket
surgery.
Dude. Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying that there is a kind of similar pattern.
Oh yeah, there is. Much more accelerated too.
Yes, accelerated and doesn't begin from the same benighted
Yeah.
place that maybe Sheena Jungle Queen does.
You mean Rima?
Well, I'm thinking of Sheena way back in the 50s. I wrote a bit on her for the book
yeah, I
that
forgot about Sheena. Yeah.
long ago was cut.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back. Like, that's some pretty great Werner Roth art. Like, I'd like to go back and do something with Sheena eventually.
Yeah.
Like, there's some work to
That's
be
true.
done.
I haven't gone back to look and see. There's a lot of stuff we cut from the book.
There's articles that we ought to, what we ought to do is just spin some of them off to like a place like Vault of Culture.
Yeah, that's true.
And one could almost argue that those might have been better promos for the book than this whole podcast.
No, this is an excellent promo for
This
the
is a
book.
terrific promo. Like, we're deep in it now.
Yeah, it's
except for the 5-minute breaking your teeth detour.
And the
and when you drop your notes below the chair.
There's that too.
And the talking
That was
about
some trauma.
and
I
talking
think we
about
both had a
dads of
moment
MCU.
today. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, this
Well,
is
it's
sort
the
of
way
a
in which
version.
our book connects to the culture. In
Well,
which we
and
currently
this
live.
is sort of a version of the coda of the book, which
Yes.
over the years that we wrote this book, we had to constantly update. 'Cause it was basically like,
So
this is what's been going on since.
We started the book in what, 2012?
It was either 2010 or
2013?
2012.
Okay, so we've not been working on it 9 years.
Okay, then it's 2012.
So about 2012, we started the book, and that
Which we thought was going to be a really good cutoff point because that was when
was
we had
perfect.
that was the New 52.
I was going to ask which reboot was it?
It was New 50. Well, originally we thought New 52, and then Marvel rebooted like the year after that. So it's sort of like, oh, perfect. Marvel and DC have rebooted. This is where we end our book.
And then there was Newer 52 and Newest 52 and Brand New 52.
And then
and
there
all
was
new,
there was
different
all
52.
new, all different Marvel, all different, all new Marvel,
Marvel
Marvel
Kaboom.
Now,
Yeah, it was-
Marvel Now.
Yeah.
Like there's like they
It's-
just rebooted, and they all rebooted with some emphasis on diversity.
So-
almost every single year,
Clearly the constant reboots
and then the
are,
MCU stuff happened.
Yeah, the constant reboots are really about an industry in crisis.
Yes.
I think, right? Fundamentally, they're commercial.
Yeah.
It's comic books understanding that the real money in comic books is in merchandising.
Yes.
It's not in the books themselves. It's in what you can sell.
No,
the
it's in the
characters
comics.
doing.
It's in the comics as a source of intellectual property
Right.
that you can then spin off into movies, television,
movies,
and
yeah.
other products.
But it was fascinating, I think, to both of us, the ways in which all of those reboots talked about diversity.
Yeah. Oh, and
Like
some of them were very even
Yeah.
more explicit than others.
Right, but all of them, in one way or another, touched on issues of diversity.
Yeah.
Which it says a lot about, I guess, where we are as a society today, that for the civil rights movement and all that we think we've accomplished with multiculturalism and what, electing, I guess, a black guy president, that we still seem frantic and frenetic and vexed by issues of race in the world in which we live in.
Yeah.
Which isn't all that different from Superman way back in the day
No.
when he went to war against Japanese Americans.
Yeah, that's not a good.
That's a period of time we like to forget.
World War II, but it's the
No,
good war.
It's the Great War.
The good war.
I thought it was the Great War. No, Greatest Generation. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, the Great War is World War I.
That's right. I'm thinking Greatest
Back
Generation.
when they thought there'd only be one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a bunch of dopes. This is the Great War,
This is the
George.
Great War.
This
And
will
then we
never
have another one,
happen
they're like,
again.
this is the Greater War?
I guess we'll just call it the second.
Yeah, we'll just go, you know.
Because it's probably going to be a third.
We don't have to stretch ourselves
Like
that
at this
hard.
point, like, let's leave open the possibility.
Yeah.
that
Well,
trilogy-
everyone loves a third installment in a franchise.
Yeah, everyone loves
exactly.
a trilogy.
Like they're thinking like a trilogy. Like when you start with the Great War.
Return of the Jedi, best Star Wars film.
Yeah.
Third Matrix, best Matrix film.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
So you think World War III is going to be the best?
Third Thor film, best Thor film.
Wait,
Wait,
fair
back
point.
up one. The third Matrix was the best film?
Yeah, I was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
But the third Thor was the best.
It was, yes.
That's why I was confused.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other films that defied the curse of the third film, and I'm kind of, I guess Cap's Civil
Lord of the
War,
Wings?
sort of.
No, Winter Soldier's better, I think.
Yeah, probably,
I
but
mean,
but Civil War
Civil
is
War's a
not
good movie.
But Civil War,
but
exactly.
it's not the best.
No,
of the
Winter Soldier.
trilogy. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I would-
Civil War is actually the third best of the Captain America trilogy, I would argue.
What's this first one?
Captain America.
Oh,
First
so almost in like
Avenger, I would-
reverse order?
So
You
I
put
would
that second to
I'd
Winter
put that
Soldier.
second,
Yeah,
but I would put it very close to Winter Soldier.
yeah well,
I
and
like that movie much more than most people do.
it gets better every
Which
time I
one?
see it.
The first one?
Yeah.
The first Avenger.
The first
it's
one's
actually a
great.
much smarter film than people give it credit for.
It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
really smart movie. I remember being mocked
Well,
somewhat for
what I
my
love is that it's one
celebration
of the
that-
beginning ones,
Right.
it
Well,
was a great start.
somebody accused me of loving Captain America only because it has a moment where it addresses Japanese American incarceration.
No, I think that person might have suggested that you liked it because it referred to your own research.
Ooh.
I think that
I don't know who that
or
person
perhaps,
was.
Perhaps multiple. I don't think it was Rich.
I'm pretty sure it was Rich.
because Rich would have to know my research.
Was it Kendra or
or let
Cal?
alone read my research?
It's probably Stevens when he came
That's
on
not
the
gonna
radio
happen.
show.
It couldn't have been Stevens because that guy was like, he was like the Black Knight after the Submariner, stabbed his fish wife
Wow.
replacement with.
I don't know. I think he might have
the
had.
ebony
I think
blade.
Black Knight might have had more
mobility.
and personality.
But I think one of the things that's really great about the first Avenger is it does address politics about the good war,
Well, it addresses
or as
the,
you would call
the
it, the
propaganda.
Great War,
Yeah.
and propaganda. But the way in which that propaganda seeded the memories of the good war that have carried ever since.
Yeah.
Which I might have just written about in an article that I published in the Popular Culture Studies Journal too.
Yeah.
So, as long as we're plugging shamelessly.
Yes.
Number 2. Well, that's not the right way to call it. That's not
It's also
right. That's
number
not
3.
a number 2.
It's also number 3.
What's number 3?
What
Book?
you just did. Book, Vault of Culture, and now
Oh
you're-
wow, I'm on a roll, baby.
You're
Quaker
on-
Brotherhood.
You're on a roll for
Concentration camp to campus.
You're on a roll for shilling.
Asian American Encyclopedia.
Instagram. I need followers.
Oh, my
Where are you
goodness.
on Instagram?
Of course I'm on Instagram.
You're on
follow you?
Instagram.
Do I follow
Do
you
you
on
follow
Instagram?
me?
Yeah, I follow you. So I know about your.
But you never like anything I post.
I don't like doing the like because the like thing doesn't mean anything. I've seen
It
it.
makes me feel better about myself.
That's why I always like your posts.
Thank you.
You shouldn't be caught up in the like culture.
Oh, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too late.
I'm a popularity.
But yeah,
Yeah.
you follow me.
Okay. That's
I
right.
don't?
Can I see the videos you do for the paintball?
I think I'm
Close
the only
enough.
one that likes them on the Facebook.
No, I like them, I think.
I like them a lot. I often will click like, and it'll come up, boop, 1.
If you want, I'm on the TikToks now.
No, you're not.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Isn't it just TikTok, not
What are you doing on the
TikToks?
TikToks? Are you doing like funny dances?
Okay, it's the
No,
TikTok.
because
it's
you can
not the
upload videos.
TikToks.
So I'm just uploading
Not the
15
TikTok.
seconds of the stuff I put on Instagram and Facebook.
Oh, so it's like some of the stuff you film of us, you're putting up.
When have I filmed you guys?
When you did with Minus.
Yeah.
The
Oh, like 3
360
years
camera
ago?
that doesn't spin.
No, you've brought him here,
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
and I think you filmed like some of that Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah, we did that for the Twitch, our very
Yeah.
active Twitch
Oh,
channel.
yeah. It's
Hey, we're working on it,
Killing it.
okay?
We should.
This was not a good semester to get back into that.
fair point.
That is probably true.
But to get back to Captain America,
Back to the book.
more than just about my interest, I think it's actually pretty smart about
It is.
propaganda, about race,
Yeah.
and about kind of how we remember or misremember the greatest generation.
I mean, of the various sort of single character Marvel origin films,
Yeah.
it's up there with the original Iron Man
Yeah.
and Black Panther as among the best.
I think it's better than Iron Man, but Iron Man always gets credit for being the first.
Yeah,
one.
it's hard for me to
Like,
separate
it's-
that from
yeah,
it.
Like, so how do
Yeah.
you make that
And Iron Man is a really good film.
right?
And actually has some things to say about the War on Terror.
Yes. All of the Marvel films have done that. Now, maybe not as bluntly as a Scorsese would want them to. But for me, for a company that's making big, crass, summer blockbuster, mega popular films, their willingness to talk about stuff like that might be somewhat reflective of the growth of the comic book industry over time.
Well, it's also
and
interesting
film in general.
It's also interesting to kind of think about that with the exception of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I don't think really any of the DCEU is talking about stuff like that.
Well, I mean, Zack Snyder's clearly talking about parenthood and family.
Yes.
Wouldn't you say?
I mean, I think
I think Martha would
inadvertently
agree.
Man of Steel becomes kind of a 9/11 sort of film, but I don't think that Zack Snyder's like, yes, I want to comment on the wanton destruction.
Now, if you count the Christopher Nolan stuff,
oh yeah,
it's much more grounded in the political
wasn't really
context.
counting the.
Yeah, I don't think you should.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of interesting to think about like Wonder Woman being one pole of what the DCEU can do, and then kind of Aquaman being the other pole.
Yeah.
In terms of Aquaman being really about nothing but Aquaman.
Yeah.
But kind of being everything about Aquaman and just being kind of a giant spectacle.
Terrible movie. Terrible film. But Wonder Woman, again, in a way that Captain America tries but maybe doesn't do quite as well, it thinks about issues of war and violence that are kind of present in Captain America. But one of the things Marvel has not done particularly well is kind of considering the impact of superheroing on people who aren't superheroes. Until you get to the snap, maybe.
Even then.
Yeah. Even then,
Even then,
it
like,
comes back.
I mean,
so, like,
you could see that, but even then, but when you get to Spider-Man Far From Home and they start calling it the blip, and it kind of has a kind of reductiveness to it.
Yeah.
I
Because,
mean,
again, it was
Civil War is
undid,
maybe the
so-
closest that you get to that, in that the whole premise of Civil War is built out of, the damage they did during the Battle of New York.
Right.
The one thing that surprised me is that they don't talk, and all the things that he lists off, it's New York, it's D.C. during Winter Soldier, it's Sokovia, and I'm like, I seem to recall the Hulk trashing South Africa in Age of Ultron, and also Ultron, as kind of like.
But even that, it's like that's political fallout.
Yeah,
it's not human fallout.
But it's the
Because
closest. It's
you've
the closest
seen
we
those
get to them
movies.
kind of addressing the massive scale of destruction
But
that they leave in their wake.
the beauty of Wonder Woman is that you see what that massive scale of destruction means for people.
Oh yeah, it's on
Right?
a much more
That's-
human scale.
yeah, right? Which, to me, is the beauty of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have the one tossaway where the lady talks to like Tony Stark at the one presentation about like a son dying in it. But, like, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. It's very minimal.
Yeah,
It's
no, it
very
is.
minimal. It's not.
I mean, that's
and
one
it's
of the
not really a
places
point.
where Marvel is not really doing anything much different than what Zack Snyder did in his films. It kind of falls to a kind of spectacle.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Violence is spectacle, which is kind of what we talked about with Joker. So American.
Yeah.
That of course we watch that and we never ask.
Yeah.
About it as Americans because we don't think about the human consequences.
Yeah.
In part because
There's no need.
well, largely in the world, there's no need because we can impose our violence on others, and it's much harder for them to impose their violence upon us. Just a thought.
Yeah.
That was a great note to go out on.
Hey.
Well, I don't think we're.
We're not going out yet.
Probably
No.
done yet.
No. We got more.
So we talked about Captain America and the way he connects to the first chapter of our book.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about 80s multiculturalism.
Yes.
We've talked a little bit about race swapping,
Mm-hmm.
which becomes a big theme later in our book.
Yeah.
Because that was a kind of a major avenue of diversification in comics in the 90s.
I mean, we have. I guess one of the other things we could that Marvel seems to have largely avoided.
Yeah.
Is kind of what happened in the 70s with the debut of the ethnic superheroes.
Yeah, that's true. We haven't done like
that
60s,
that were
70s.
all sort of defined by Black Panther, Black Goliath, Luke Cage,
right carrying over into
Black
like
Lightning,
Super Friends, and
that all again very much sort of all defined by their race.
right, and brilliantly parodied on Harvey Birdman
Yes.
with is it the Multicultural Friends?
Multicultural pals.
Pals,
I
there
think is
you
what
go.
it is.
Yeah.
Yes. very well. Well, and you know, just their whole parody of Black Vulcan, who is himself a parody of Black Lightning.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marvel seems to have avoided that in terms of their rollout of diversity.
It's not entirely surprising that even like well-intentioned liberal white dudes, when they start writing non-white characters, run into problems.
Yes.
Or like Denny O'Neil when he tries to write about social problems.
Yeah. Well, Denny O'Neil, Steve Englehart, Tony Isabella, those are kind of the big three.
Yeah,
I would say of the 60s and 70s that are very earnest in wanting to represent diversity, but are kind of hamstrung by the way in which race, particularly under liberalism, is sort of conceived.
Well, they're hamstrung by their culture.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure when we go to Comic-Con in San Diego to collect a whole host of prizes, like as we're on the book tour around the country.
Yes.
At every
is that
stop,
what you think happens at those conventions? There's like prizes?
Oh yeah, there's gonna be a lot of prizes.
Oh, they give the
most coming with monetary.
The Eisner Award, which is one of if not the biggest comic book industry award. They announced that at Comic-Con.
Oh,
and there is a category for best academic work on comics or something like that.
Never mind then.
The book's gonna be
Frederick
crossover.
won that year before last.
Smash success, right? It's gonna be huge. But
I think you mean huge.
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 Everywhere we go, somebody's gonna say, like, you hate comics because you're writing about O'Neill and Englehart and Isabella from a critical perspective. And I think my response is always like, and it's the criticism we get on the third floor where we work. Oh, you guys are writing about comic books. You're like, we're not. Like, we are writing about comic books, but in both the criticism of the book by our colleagues and by the people who are going to come, the reality is, like, it's not a criticism of O'Neill.
Right.
O'Neill is captured in part by the culture in which he lives, right? It establishes the kinds of questions he wants to ask,
right,
and it allows the kinds of avenues of solution that he perceives.
Well, and I think also
at some point people might say about our book 50 years from now, boy, those guys were really blinkered, and I'll be like, well, duh.
Yeah. Well, I think
I have no response to that.
I've always sort of thought of that we aren't really so much talking about, without getting too much into narrative theory, we're not really talking about O'Neill.
We're trying to sell the book, remember?
O'Neill, and which there's none of this
skip
in the
that
book.
part in the book.
There's none of this in
None
the book.
of this in the book.
That when we talk about O'Neill and Englehart and Isabella, we're not talking about them so much as individuals,
right,
but them as sort of the implied author that we see through the texts.
Right. And more broadly,
or in their function as author of the text.
Right. And to me, that implied author transcends individuals, but sort of encompasses a cadre of people who were writing together at the time, but that is encompassed in turn by a broad culture.
Yeah. Well, and even if they aren't writing together, certainly O'Neill and Englehart and Isabella are all writing as part of a particular zeitgeist.
Right.
In the culture, that they're all kind of doing the same thing.
The book is really a study of the zeitgeist.
In a lot of ways, yeah.
Via comics.
Yeah.
In let me say, Rich, a fun-filled romp through comics history that has another layer of cultural analysis built in, of course.
There's a lot of romp.
Oh, there's a lot of romping.
Very, very romping. 25%, 35% romping?
Well, like if you think about Superman during World War II, every time he's beating up Japanese Americans, he's like saying "Tag, you're in," or so he's got a funny catch line. That
we do reference things like Spider-Man's use of humor.
That's true. Spider-Man likes to romp,
and the way in which humor is used.
Yeah.
And we are kind of talking about comics.
Yeah, not a big fan of our analysis of the humor.
What was that?
Remember the one guy, isn't everybody funny in comics?
Yes, which I think helped us make a stronger argument.
Yes.
About the way in which humor is working.
The argument kills.
Differently.
Kills. It is good stuff.
But yeah, so and in a lot of ways we've kind of seen, in the various efforts to adapt those original kind of 1970s characters, thinking like the Black Panther movie, the Luke Cage series on Netflix, even the Black Lightning show on the CW, that they've all, I think, done better with the modern version of the heroes than
even like somebody like Christopher Priest writing Black Panther is clearly stepping in the 90s and saying, like, there's a lot not right with Black Panther, where he came from and how he's been depicted. How do I reclaim the Black Panther for a new way of thinking about race in America?
Well, it's kind of funny to think about that. Basically, dating from the Priest series, Black Panther has sort of maintained status as kind of a mainstay of the Marvel universe,
right?
Whereas prior to the Priest series and throughout the vast majority of the 80s and even some of the late 70s, he was basically a reserve Avenger that popped up every once in a while.
Right, or he was a character that Kirby took over and was just like, whoa, not where you want to take that character.
Yeah, and that he and Black Widow as well. Like he and Black Widow for much of the 80s were not like major character. Like Black Widow was a supporting character in Daredevil.
Yeah.
At best, but in Avengers, she was a reservist that again would pop up every once in a while.
And it's clear that the movies and the kind of the success of the movies is filtering back into the comics, right? In terms of who they're going to write stories about.
Oh yeah,
and I think the Black Panther stuff with coats and whatnot is like they've built like an empire of Black Panther stuff.
They have. You know,
I feel something critical coming.
I mean, the issue I have with the coats is that it took him a little while to figure out like the rhythm of writing for comics. Like the early stuff on Black Panther.
Maybe you should send him an email with some tips on writing.
Is a bit.
Jay, just a heads up.
Dear Mr. Coates, I have enjoyed your work to some extent. Here are a list of 6 things you might do to write better.
Well, no, he figured it out eventually. But the first 6 or 7 issues of his Black Panther were a little, as comics, had some awkwardness, I would say.
Well, for all of the thinking of comic books as not writing, it turns out there's a craft to writing a comic book well.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see because N.K. Jemisin, who's a fantasy writer, African-American fantasy writer.
Is that J. Jonah Jameson's?
No, Jemisin.
Niece?
No, Jemisin.
J. Jonah Jameson. Is it J. Jonah Jameson's niece? See what I did there?
Yeah, no, I see what you did there.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud of that.
So she's writing a new Green Lantern series that I'm very excited about because it's featuring a black Green Lantern, but also sort of set within kind of the idea that she's on the frontier of space.
That sounds like it's right up your alley.
It is kind of right up my alley.
Sounds like a future Mapaka presentation, actually.
Probably, yeah. That's coming out, I think it starts in it might even be coming out this month or December.
Bobby would be very unhappy, but I would not recommend the Grant Morrison Green Lantern run.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so Far Sector, I think that would be another thing that would, when we do the second edition of the book.
Yes.
I'm sure
6-8 months probably after it sells out.
Yeah, we'll have to do more with that. We'll have to do more with the Coates Black Panther, I imagine.
Yeah.
A lot more with the MCU because that's just right now a brief discussion in the coda.
Well, the coda will become a chapter. Like it'll be a second edition that's actually a real second edition, not just like a.
Well, the coda will become a chapter, and then we'll have to have a coda to what was originally the coda.
Right. Exactly. That'll be a fun chapter to write, though.
Oh, it will be.
Or we could just take notes from all the stuff we've said across the past 110 podcasts.
Yeah. So. Well, we'll probably have to split the coda up into what's going on with the comics and then a separate chapter on what's going on with the films at that point.
That book is going to be huge.
Well, because we will have. I mean, when you think about it, we will have the entirety of the MCU to deal with.
Right.
That right now is just dealt with in the coda.
No, that's a fair point. Like you could definitely do an entire.
Like we would need to do an entire chapter on, and the DCEU as well. Like we would have.
I think you put those into one chapter.
Yeah, but then you've also got to do the Netflix and the Warner Brothers, like kind of multimedia superheroes.
You're not even talking about comic books.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
There's a lot to be done. The amazing thing about All New, All Different, the history of race in the American superhero.
Sorry. One of the amazing things.
Yes. Is that you can pre-order it right now.
Yes,
it's
from University of Texas Press.
And at more than 400 pages, I think it's a relatively inexpensive $34.
Yeah.
Paperback. And
if you pre-order it with the discount, it's like 20% off of that.
20% off.
Which are we going to tell them discount code? Or?
Yeah, the discount code is all caps. AUSALP.
Is that what it is?
Believe.
I thought there was a U in there somewhere.
AUS?
AUSLU. Yeah.
I mean, I can't Google that one.
Or is it AUP?
I don't know.
All right, hang on just one second. Somebody's going to Google it up.
How would I Google it up?
I don't know. Just look it up on your email.
What was the company called?
Well, they're not going to have it posted there.
You'd be surprised with it on Google.
All right. Well, didn't we put it up on the... I'm pretty sure it's.
I don't know, what was it? Texas.
I know that sounds right. It's something like that. You're very That's either it or very close to it.
Well,
let me dig through my my Instagram. All I gotta do is find the picture of the cover. It's a sharp looking cover, wouldn't you say?
It is
Rich?
a nice. It is a nice looking book. Oh yes, Rich.
You're a visually oriented professional.
I don't think I saw it. Was that you said you put it on Instagram?
Yep.
Let's just look to my feed. Hang on.
Oh wait a minute. Let's see. There, somebody asked me about the discount.
What did you thought it was? AUSALP?
Yes, all caps. All right, so there's the first picture of the book cover.
Oh shoot, no, that just did that on Google. Dang it, I won't do that.
Oh, all right, I got it. Hang on a second. This podcast cannot end until we confirm that.
Oh, it did come up with an email.
Yes, all right.
I think you might be right.
Yeah? Here I am offering it to Mary Pat. She didn't follow up. I hope Mary Pat's still listening.
AUSALP, all caps.
There you go. I was right.
To receive 20% off through November 5th, 2020.
November 5th. When's this going to get posted, Rich? Because today's the 29th.
Here's a concern.
Yes?
It says November 5th, 2020.
No.
On the email. Is our book not coming out till next year?
Of course it's coming out this year.
I'm a little concerned about that.
You say of course, but it says 2020.
It does say 2020 in Bailey's email.
I'm sure she got that wrong.
I hope to God she got that wrong, or we're going to be waiting a long time for this book to come out.
So anyway, Rich is going to get this up as quickly as he can.
Yes, indeedy.
AUSALP, 20%
Yes.
off? Well, that's like a $7 savings right there on the paperback.
Yeah.
If you buy it and you want us to sign it, feel free to bring it by the office.
Too bad.
No, we'll sign it.
Well, you can send it to us, and we'll send it to you.
Sure.
Signed.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have to cover postage because
We're
cheap.
You send a self-addressed stamp.
But also, once the book tour occurs,
yeah.
I'm sure you'll be able to find us all over this great nation.
Absolutely. I imagine we start in New York, we end up in L.A.
No. We have to start at Comics on the Green.
That's fair. Start in Scranton.
Yeah.
Up to New York.
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
Birthplace of Superman.
Yeah.
Chicago.
Yeah.
No?
No, Chicago, Denver.
Do we need to do a southern tour too?
Well, we could do Chicago, Denver.
Do we need to do Atlanta?
We'd have to hit Portland.
Yeah,
that's
Portland for sure.
Because that's one of the big comic spots now.
L.A.
L.A.
San Diego.
Yeah, L.A., San Diego. Well, then we could swing back through the south.
What about, I feel like
L.A., San Diego.
El Paso.
Would we do it?
I want to go back home.
Or would we do Austin?
Both.
Okay. Austin, El Paso.
Yeah.
New Orleans.
Try El Paso, Austin, then
New Orleans.
Atlanta.
Yeah, we could skip Florida.
Yeah, probably.
We don't need to go to Miami.
I could go to Miami.
D.C., and then we circle back here.
Yeah. But then we got the international. We got to get to Honolulu, which will get us to the Asian leg.
I'm sorry.
Of the tour.
Did you just describe Honolulu as international?
Yeah, on
Honolulu, Hawaii.
On the way to
international.
Asia. Yes, it is on the
way to
the
international. Are you going to say it's a state or something?
I'm pretty sure it's part of the United States.
I know it's
really
part of the United
States.
But the international tour, wouldn't you stop in Honolulu on the way to
No,
Asia?
what we should do is when we should do L.A.
Yes, you would.
No, on the U.S. tour, we should do L.A., Honolulu, San Diego.
Well, that's fine, but that seems like a lot of flying back and forth when we could use Honolulu to jump off to Tokyo.
Did you have something else you're going to be doing in the spring?
Yeah, probably not. That's a fair point.
It's not like we're teaching the comic book class.
I don't know if we need to go, like, Europe.
A European tour?
I guess it would be a European tour.
I don't know. Hard to say.
I think we should hit all the continents.
Even Antarctica?
We're going to, yeah. Oh, the penguins love us.
There's got to be a couple people there that need a book
There's
to
some
read
research
Yes,
scientists.
you with your flipper up.
No, there's like a whole little research station. You're
I
going
can
to
do voices for the penguins like I do for the dog.
Oh, yes.
Oh, in chapter 2, you're right about.
Chapter 2, you're right about the politics of safety. I found that really fascinating. Also, do you have any fish?
Coming soon to a bookstore?
Coming very soon to
an online vendor?
Yes, such as the University of Texas Press.
That's right.
Well, Amazon.
Yeah, but you don't
one
get
year.
You don't get the discount at Amazon.
That's right.
Oh, okay. So that should be something you should mention.
Yes,
that the
Amazon
discount
will be full freight.
Yes, the AUSALP has to be through
University of Texas Press.
That's right. There's no other way to do it.
Yes. So if you want to get the book for the most inexpensive rate,
that's right.
That is how you should get it.
Happy reading.
Yes, enjoy.
If you have questions, comments, please feel free to email them to Rich.
Yes, we
And
could do
we'll
a
put
whole
together
show
a
on that at some
where we
point
just answer people's questions
about our book.
How'd you write such a great book? What makes the book so great? Why is this the most awesome thing I've ever read? These are the kinds of questions I
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
These seem like really probing, critical questions.
How can two such handsome men write such smart stuff?
That's true. Are you guys as handsome as you are smart in the book?
Good question.
Man, those are questions you wish somebody would ask you.
I ask myself that every day.
Yeah.
Sadly, the answer is no.
But when the book comes out, maybe you're going to like yourself more.
Yeah, possibly.